What if the villain in your story was your own reflection? Hey, it's Andrea from Ladies First, and today we're talking about Black Swan, a film that has a lot to teach us about the brutal cost of becoming your own worst enemy, and how we can give ourselves our own salvation. Swan Lake is a mirror and a warning. The ballet Swan Lake centers on Princess Odette, who is cursed by an evil sorcerer to become a white swan during the day. The curse can only be broken by a vow of true love. Prince Sigrid falls in love with Odette, but the sorcerer deceives him by presenting his daughter, Odile, the Black Swan, leading the prince to mistakenly declare his love for her. Ultimately betrayed, Odette is doomed and ends with her self-destruction. From the start, Nina is the white swan, technically perfect, emotionally contained, utterly repressed. She lives in a cotton candy pink bedroom like a child frozen in time. Her mother, Erica, brushes her hair, monitors her scratches, controls her diet. Erica's love is contingent, suffocating, and laden with the weight of her own unrealized dreams. When Nina is cast as the Swan Queen, she must embody both Odette and Odile. But she struggles to access the Black Swan. She can replicate sensuality, but not feel it. Thomas, the company director, pushes her toward this darker side. Perfection, he says, is not just about control, it's also about letting go. But for Nina, letting go means unraveling the very identity she has spent her life protecting. The trouble with two sides of a woman. Much of the film's conflict derives from this binary, the innocent white swan versus the seductive black swan. This cultural archetype deeply rooted in the Madonna Hall complex, a Freudian inheritance that still shapes the way women are categorized in art and media. This split has dominated how femininity is portrayed, either as saintly and pure or dangerous and desirable, but never both. Thomas, as the male director, is the gatekeeper of this myth. He casts Nina not because she understands both swans, but because he believes he can unlock the black swan in her through manipulation. Lily, her rival and double, is his shortcut to that goal, a woman who is comfortable in her sexuality, instinctual, uninhibited. Nina, meanwhile, has been raised to fear those very traits. She's been taught that to be good is to be small. Traditionally, the white swan symbolizes innocence, and the black swan symbolizes danger. But what if that framing is backwards, or at least more complicated when viewed through a female gaze? What if childhood, with its lack of control, raw emotion, and imitative behavior, is actually more aligned with the chaotic, self-absorbed black swan energy? What if adulthood, earned through self-awareness, integration, and compassion, is the white swan? In this reading, Nina begins not as the white swan, but as an arrested version of the black swan, a chaotic self-pretending at innocence. Her technical perfection masks a lack of true embodiment. Nina performs passion without ever feeling it. She is imitation, not integration. This is also echoed in Jungian theory. The shadow self, as Carl Jung defined it, includes all the parts of ourselves we reject or repress, especially the emotional, sexual, or impulsive parts deemed unacceptable by our family or society. Nina's entire life has been an act of repression, enforced by her mother and rewarded by the ballet world. But repression doesn't kill the shadow. It only ensures that when it returns, it does so violently. A woman split in two. As the pressure mounts, Nina begins to hallucinate. She sees doppelgangers, herself, but darker, freer, bolder. She imagines Lily seducing Thomas, stealing her role, even morphing into her in bed. Her dreams and waking life blur. She is meeting her shadow, and she's terrified of it. This is where Black Swan intersects with the psychological process of shadow work. Shadow work involves consciously engaging with the repressed parts of ourselves, understanding where they came from, and integrating them with compassion. Done well, it leads to healing. Done poorly, or not at all, it leads to disintegration. Nina is a case study in shadow work gone wrong. She doesn't integrate her shadow, she tries to kill it. She literally stabs her doppelganger with a shard of mirror, only to discover, too late, that she has stabbed herself. And yet, paradoxically, this is when she dances best. Letting go too late. Nina's Black Swan performance is breathtaking. She embodies the very things she feared: rage, seduction, chaos, confidence. She moves like a creature unchained. In this moment, she has finally let go. But it is not a liberation. It is a culmination. She has achieved perfection, but only by ceasing to be a person. Backstage, the blood begins to seep through her white swan costume. She prepares for the final act, sacrificing her life. It is no longer just performance, it is prophecy. A path toward wholeness. Perhaps the most radical thing we can do is refuse the binary altogether. The white swan and the black swan aren't opposing forces. They're fragments of the same whole. The true white swan is not innocence, but integration, not purity, but peace. She is not a girl performing perfection. She is a woman who knows herself and is no longer afraid of her own shadow. She has moved through the chaos of the black swan phase, through imitation, ego, and rebellion, and come out the other side as someone real. If we take anything from Nina Sayers, let it be this: perfection is not worth sacrificing yourself for. But authenticity, that's worth everything. What's your take on Black Swan? I'd love to talk about it with you in the comments. And if you enjoy getting into the nitty-gritty of the most iconic women in film, like this video, and don't forget to subscribe to Ladies First.